What's going on, guys? So, bad news. The whole reason why I pulled that engine apart was because we thought we had a pinched O-ring on the dowel pin. Pulled it apart and, well, took it for a spin, made sure all the tuning was the same and everything was going good, and, well, still leaking. So, as you can see, we got a new turbo blanket on the back. We got some oil cooler fans, which are pretty beastly. They're just some Spall fans. Turned it on, it literally lifted off the metal like that, and I plugged it in. It literally lifted up and started going crazy. So, pulling some pretty decent air. But we're gonna go ahead and fix. I found a hole. I'll show you guys in a sec here. And I guess on the 13B RE irons, it's right here. This is a spare junk motor, but there's a hole right here, which I guess is a vent. So I'm pretty sure that's where my oil is coming from. Like I said before, every time we go above 4,000 or 5,000 RPMs, it sprays oil all over the rear housing. So we're about to go ahead and close that thing up. I'm about to push the FD out right now so we can have some light in here. We're gonna throw that turbo blanket on and these oil cooler fans. I'm gonna block off my radiator a little bit because I don't run a thermostat because I have the electric water pump, and it is staying around 65 degrees Celsius, which is way too cold. Stock, the thermostat doesn't even open up till, I wanna say, 82 degrees centigrade, so Celsius. So we need to do something to get this thing to warm up a little bit. The same thing with the oil. Today's 80 degrees outside, Fahrenheit of course, so it is a little warmer, but yesterday when it was like 60, 65, we couldn't get this oil to warm up at all. So we're gonna do a few little things to fix all this cooling issues. I have some an oil thermostat coming in the mail, but for now, probably gonna put a little piece of speed tape over one of the coolers to block it a little bit so it doesn't flow air as efficiently. So let's get this thing pulled out. I'll show you guys what I'm talking about. All right, so flip camera. So here, I can find it right there. There's a hole that I was talking about. Apparently that's a vent in the Cosmo engine. As you can see, there's a bunch of oil all over this housing, so I'm gonna go ahead and clean that off. I'm gonna take this intake piping off and basically take all this off so I can get to it easier. But we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna try to find a bolt that will fit it pretty damn close. And then I have this weird stuff. So it's pretty much impossible to get JB Weld over here. I've literally gone to like 4 or 5 different stores now. Don't sell it. I've gone onto our military base and it's sold out literally everywhere. The auto hobby shop and our BX big grocery store mall type thing. So this is what I found. German said this was equivalent. It's like a putty, and then it has the 2-part mix. You basically cut it and then knead it and it'll harden. I have used this before actually on the FD to plug a hole on the firewall, and it worked really good. So we're gonna go ahead and use some of that. Like I said, I'm either gonna find a bolt, stick it in there, and then use that stuff, clamp it down and let it harden, or I'm thinking about grinding down the metal right there, just so the paint gets off it, and then basically taking like a penny or a nickel or something, putting that putty on both sides, and then clamping it down, letting it harden for an hour, and then seeing how that works. So we'll see. I'm gonna start doing that now. I'm about to plug my phone in because it's about to die, and then we'll see how it goes. So here's my solution. It's a little ghetto, but it's hopefully going to work. So I found a bolt that was pretty snug. I grinded it down a little bit up here so I could kind of hit it in. Like I said, it's pretty snug, but we're gonna cake it up with this stuff and put it in there. I'll show you guys how it fits. Hold on. So I cut one side like that flat because of the way this hole is in here. It'll focus. So like that. And this will go like that. So there it is. Like I said, you'll be able to see there'll be a bunch of that stuff caked on there. Oh, so hopefully that'll hold it. If not, honestly, I don't even care if this bolt holds it or not right now. I just want to know if that is where the actual leak is coming from. I've been talking to Jesus, this guy who built the engine. He said that came up with the idea to put a GoPro in here and basically film it. I also thought about putting this thing on some jack stands and basically, you know, put it in first and revving it out and having myself sit up here and watch it and see where it leaks. But we're gonna go ahead and do this for now, and that way hopefully I'll be able to see if it slows it down, or like I said, if it stops it. So I'm like 90% positive this is where it's coming from. So we're about to cut some of this stuff up, take this up, put it in there and clamp it down. Well guys, we got it clamped down. I'll have to show you guys once. Yeah, you're not able to see anything, but I put quite a bit on there, and this thing is really, really tough. They weren't joking. They said this is literally already hardened. Well, starting to harden, of course, not hard, but yeah, you can see this is some pretty good stuff. Like I said, I've used it before. This has literally been maybe 2 minutes, so it's already pretty hard. So like I said, I've used this before and it works pretty well. So hopefully this will do it. Like I said, if not, slow down the leak and not shoot so much oil out, and then we'll know for sure that's it, and we can take it out and tap it and plug it the proper way if this doesn't hold. But I have a pretty good feeling this stuff is gonna hold because it's some nice pliable stuff, and I really caked it on there. Well guys, this feed was leaking at the bottom, so we took it off, put some Teflon tape on it. Hopefully this will hold. I don't have any Teflon paste. However, I have heard that the Teflon paste won't hold up to the heat anyways. So wrap this nice and tight. Did about 2 wraparounds, 2.5. So yeah, it was leaking out right here. So we cleaned everything really good, cleaned all the threads. We're gonna put this one back on, tighten her down. Guys, I don't know if you can see there. So that is my job. I did. It is all patched up, so hopefully it will not leak. It's been about an hour and it is rock solid. As you can see my fingerprints from pushing on it previously, and I can't even cut them or wipe them off. So yeah, it is good. Hopefully we're about to take it out for a rip and see. I cleaned up the majority of the oil, so now we'll be able to see if it's leaking or not. I pray it is not and it's fixed. I went ahead and I re-Teflon taped the turbo feed elbow. I don't even think I Teflon taped it before, which is probably why it started seeping. So yeah, that's all good. Turbo blanket is installed. The little springs were a real pain on this side because of the turbo drain, but it's all good. We got a turbo blanket now, so should retain all the heat in the turbo and not bring it out. So everything is good to go. We're about to take it down the road for a spin. I'm gonna check the oil, make sure everything is still good, and clean stuff up. But we're about to take it for a drive. We'll see how it does. I'm sure some people are gonna hate this, but this is my method to seeing if I could get this thing to warm up a bit. Took some speed tape, covered just one part of the oil cooler. Same thing on the other one, right there. And covered up some spots on the radiator. So obviously the coolant is going in from the engine this way and getting cooled over here, these spots, into the engine. So I covered up right here. So now we have a lot smaller area of cooling. So hopefully this will allow the oil to warm up and the coolant to warm up as well. And then if it gets too hot, I'll go ahead and I'll take a couple strips off. I'll carry this tape with me. It's just speed tape, so it's made for covering leaks and stuff like that. It's good up to like 300 degrees Celsius, so it's not gonna burn or anything like that. So let's go take it for a spin and see how it does. Well guys, my coolant is at about 89 degrees Celsius. Same down there. I think I put a little bit too much on the side where the engine coolant is coming in, because it's doing all right, but I stopped for about 4 minutes and it went to 95 and was having a problem bringing it back down until I went cruising. So you might have to take a strip or two off there, but once you're cruising, it's sitting right at 90, which is perfectly fine. And then oil temp is at 182 degrees Fahrenheit, and that's while driving, so that's good. Before it was at like 130, and it wouldn't get above 130, 140 degrees Fahrenheit, which is way too cool. So yeah, so far so good. Like I said, it's keeping it right at 90, which is fine, but I'm about to pull over once we get a shoulder, and I'm gonna rip a strip of the tape off. Probably 2 strips on the hot side coming in, because I did block it quite a bit, and it just went up to 95. So yeah, we're gonna pull over and yank a piece of tape off. I'll lower this down, bring it back down. But yeah, everything's good so far though. Oil temp is really what I was worried about. I'm not too concerned if the coolant temp is a little cool. I just want to make sure the oil temp is up to temperature, because obviously the SAE properties, it needs to be warm to thin out and lubricate. So I'm gonna pull over up here, yank a piece of tape off, and we'll continue cruising. Well guys, I just pulled over, took a couple pieces of that tape off the hot side, and we're gonna continue driving. No leaks coming from or pissing on the housing. I haven't done a little pull yet, but we will to verify. But it seems like it has stopped leaking, so we're about to continue driving. You can see a little smoke coming from my turbo blanket. Of course, that is still breaking in and has not seen heat as I just installed it. So, starting good, running good. I'm happy. Temps are good. So we are about to go continue this cruise, put some braking miles on this thing. Hell yeah, guys, she's fixed, I guess. I just did a little 3,000 to 5,000 RPM pull, and yeah, I got out and I looked, no more leaks. So that JB Weld is holding, or that whatever that putty stuff is, German off-brand JB Weld is holding. So that definitely is where the hole is coming from, because normally it is pissing oil, it pisses oil out there. So pretty pumped about that. I'm gonna continue driving this thing. Temperatures are at, I pulled those 2 pieces of tape off, and I think I'm gonna have to put one more on and find the happy medium, because now the coolant is at 75 while driving, and water temp is at, or oil temp is at 174, which is about 70 something degrees Celsius. So yeah, and I have it set to 90 degrees Celsius, and it is at 80, 75 on here. This one reads from the back of the, where you fill the coolant. This one's on the radiator. So one more strip and I think it'll be good for now until I get my at least coolant wise, and then I have my oil thermostat coming in. So for now, it's at least warming up with those 2 pieces of the cooler block. So definitely a win. No more leaky oil. So I'm happy. I'm about to go for a hour cruise or so. We'll see. I got a little above a half tank of gas. So hell yeah. Signs you don't drive your FD enough.